Hello everyone, this is Sunny, and I'm coming to you with You'll Learn to Love Me, a Yandere Masky X-Reader by FluffyWubs. We're going to be starting off with Chapter 7. After the news report, Tim and I were still seated in the same spot. Tim cracked a few jokes to brighten up the mood, which surprisingly worked. I was having a great time with him, and it was around 9:30 p.m. or so when Tim's phone suddenly started buzzing. He paused his talking for a few moments to grab his phone, and once he scanned what was on his screen, his mood suddenly dropped as he frowned. I felt a bit worried at this point. Is something up? I asked, making Tim quickly shove his phone back into his pocket. I have to go. He abruptly stood up from his spot. I was confused, but overall disappointed. He seemed to notice the disappointment on my face, which made him place a reassuring hand on my shoulder for a few seconds. Sorry, it's so sudden. He flashed me an apologetic smile. But it's an emergency. I promise I'll make it up to you, okay? He grins. I managed to smile a bit and nod. Okay, see you tomorrow? I ask. Tim chuckles before nodding. Yeah, see you tomorrow. He replied before leaving the cafe. I looked out the display window, only to notice that it wasn't snowing anymore. Instead, it was pouring heavily. Yikes, wherever Tim was going, he'd probably get drenched in the meantime. I decided to stay put in the cafe until the rain dimmed down. I was currently in the comfort of my bed, all dried up after rushing through the rain. The rain didn't stop while I was at the cafe, and they were already closing, so I had no other choice but to run back home. As usual, I couldn't sleep. It was already 2 a.m. or so, and to no avail. I have to be honest, the thought of hanging out with Tim kept me up. I just felt excited whenever I thought about hanging out with him. He's so sweet and nice, and he's everything a girl would want in a guy. Thinking about him made me realize, am I falling for this guy? No, of course not. I've only met him a few days ago. I couldn't possibly grow a liking towards him. Then again, just thinking of his smile made my heart accelerate. This is bad. I pat myself on both cheeks with my hands, telling myself, stop thinking about him, Ryan. I curled up into a fetal position and shivering underneath my covers. I had the urge to text Tim, but I had to prevent myself from doing so. I can't stay up late again, but would I be able to sleep without texting Tim at least once? I huffed to myself and decided to grab my phone. Just one text. Don't go overboard. I unlocked my phone and tapped on Tim's number. Tim, you awake? I waited a couple seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I sighed and shut my phone off. He probably was already asleep. I placed my phone back on my nightstand before flipping myself over on the bed, resting on my other side. He'll probably text me tomorrow. I forced my eyes shut. If I just keep my eyes closed, I'll fall asleep eventually. A loud bang against my door made my eyes snap open and my heart race from the sudden sound. I jolted up in my bed, snapping my head towards the source of the sound. What in the hell was that? I suddenly hear low murmurs coming from the living room. I had to prevent myself from gasping. My heart started beating so loud to the point where I could hear it in my ears. Someone was in my apartment. Someone broke in. I could hear footsteps drag themselves through my house. Shit, what do I do? Should I call the police? No, not now. They could hear me. I snatched my phone in my hands just in case. I could hear the footsteps approach my room, making me quickly lay back down with my back turned towards the front opening of my door. I was terrified. I tried my best not to shake. The footsteps stopped right in front of my room before I heard the door creak open. I felt my breath hitch in my throat. They were sleeping. A male, teen-like voice hushed softly. I assume he said they, since he couldn't figure out what gender I was by staring at my back. Good, keep an eye on him. We'll look around. Another voice came from the living room. There was not one, but there was two of them. I swallowed silently, holding my phone close to my chest. Okay, I learned this. Stay calm, don't panic. I could call the police if I just don't move too much. I could still feel the presence of one of the intruders in my room. I heard a few odd cracking and clicking sounds as if somebody was popping their knuckles. I flipped my phone onto the covers, holding it close to my chest as the light coming from the screen wouldn't alert the male at the door. As silently as possible, I dialed 911. I lowered the volume of my phone as much as possible as I wait for someone to pick up. It didn't take a second to hear a click. 911, what's your emergency? Their voice was muffled due to me pressing the phone against my chest. Did he hear that? No, he surely would have done something if he did hear it. Besides, the cracking noises drowned out my phone just a bit. If I spoke, I'm sure he would hear. I had no other choice. Lifting up my phone to my mouth, I muttered my address along with a plea of help. This alerted the male. Shit, she's calling the police, he seethed. I couldn't even react or have a chance to run away. I felt myself being tackled out of my bed, causing me to drop my phone to the ground. My head hit the wooden floor pretty hard, making me let out a hiss of pain. I felt my body being straddled as a gloved hand held my head down onto the ground, and I could feel a blade being pressed against my neck. My body couldn't stop shaking. At this point, I was already helplessly crying. Fear and despair was etched onto my face as I tried to move my arms, only to be threatened by the teen. Try anything, and I'll chop your pretty head right off. He seethed lowly. Through my teary vision, I could see he was holding me down. He looked and sounded like a teen, probably around 17 years of age or so. His words were slightly muffled by some sort of mouth guard he had strapped around his mouth. He had orange goggles that were resting on top of his chestnut-colored hair. His chocolate-colored orbs pierced right into mine. He looked rather skinny, but is surprisingly strong. I could feel the blade of what looked like a small hatchet pierce into my skin. Is this how I'm going to die? I heard footsteps rush into the room. I was expecting one more person to come in, but instead 2 people entered. So they're not 1, not 2, but 3 intruders in total? I could see one of the intruders that was wearing an orange hoodie completely ignore me as he walked right past me and this teen, looking through my drawers and other things. The last intruder, I could recognize him in a heartbeat. He was the same person that killed my ex-boyfriend. He was the most terrifying person out of all 3. He knelt down at me with his black holes in his mask. Hey, princess. His voice sounded rough and oddly deep. You recognize me, don't you? He chuckled, lightly cocking his head to the side, making his brown hair follow the movement. I swallowed nervously as the female masked man takes one of his gloved hands over my face, wiping away the tears from my cheeks. You know her? The teen, who I just noticed was twitching a bit, looked up at the masked male. The male stood up, pushing himself off the floor as he chuckled loudly. I killed her boyfriend in front of her. He states as a matter-of-fact tone. I just wanted to beat the shit out of him if I could. The twitchy teen's mouth guard slightly arched up on both corners, meaning he was grinning or smiling. Nice, the teen replied. To my relief, I could see flashes of red and blue coming from the outside, along with the loud sound of a siren. The teen on top of me tensed up, muttering inaudible words to himself. Hoodie, hurry up. The cops are here, he sneered. Hoodie, which was seemingly the orange-hooded guy, had stuffed a bunch of my stuff into his pockets. I caught a glimpse of what I assumed was my money, my jewelry, and other objects of mine that were probably worth some decent money. What a bunch of disgusting pricks, stealing from an innocent citizen that probably needs the money more than they do. We got everything we need. Let's go. Hoodie's unnaturally deep voice commanded. What about the girl? The teen on top of me questioned, glancing down at my shaking form. No time. We'll come back for her soon. We need to leave. They're making their way upstairs. Hoodie snarled bitterly once he mentioned the police. He didn't waste any more time on staying in my apartment and dashed out before he could get caught. The teen scoffed before scrambling off of me, ready to dash off, but not before delivering a harsh kick into my side. This isn't the last time you'll see me. He spat a bitter threat at me before rushing out. I was left to clutch my side in pain where the teen had stomped his boot as the female-masked male trailed behind a bit. He's forcefully lifted me up, placing me on my bed as I winced. What is he doing? You'll be fine, his husky voice stated, not so reassuringly. The multiple footsteps from outside were faint, but were slowly becoming louder, which meant the police were outside were getting close. Bye-bye, sunshine. The masked man cooed before rushing out of my apartment. I was left on my bed, trying to analyze how this happened so quick. The rushing footsteps came closer and closer. The shouts were heard from outside. The police had evacuated everyone from the building, including me. They were going to look through my apartment in case they could find anything that could track the 3 burglars. I told them that one of them was the same person I had witnessed killing my boyfriend, and they tried to look through the security tapes, but everything seemed to be mysteriously wiped clean. I was outside along with many other people that lived in the complex. My body was shaking from both cold and shock as I buried myself deeper in the blanket that had given me. The news station was here very quickly, too. They were in front of my building as a news reporter stood in front of my camera, talking about the events that had occurred. I sniffed, wiping my teary eyes. Some of the people that were forced out of their apartments were either confused, scared, or shocked. Out of all the people, why did it have to be me? I wrapped the blanket tighter around my body as a gust of wind flies by. It's freezing. There's snow on the ground, and the only thing I have on my feet are my fuzzy bedroom slippers. I'm standing a few feet away from the complex, mainly because I didn't want to be captured by the news cameras. I'm standing on the sidewalk, watching as police walk in and out of the complex. Lion? I could hear a sweet, smooth voice call my name a couple of steps away. I turn around only to see Tim walking over to me with a confused yet worried expression once he sees the police behind me. The first thing that caught my eye was that he wasn't wearing his usual yellow jacket. He was wearing a black one instead. Are you okay? Shit, what happened? The moment he's in front of me, he grabs my shoulders firmly, and concern laces his eyes as he scans my face as if looking for an answer. I guess I could see my teary eyes and reddened cheeks, which gave away the fact that I was crying. He didn't hesitate to pull me closer to him, wrapping his strong arms around my small body. I swallow thickly, trying my best not to cry. I shakily wrap one arm around him, using my other hand to hold the blanket over myself. Three people broke in. I breathed out shakily, burying my face into his jacket for comfort. I could feel Tim's body tense up. Did they hurt you? He pulls away, scanning my face and body for any visible injuries. I manage to smile at his concern and shake my head. No, they almost did, I say, rubbing my neck with my hand, where a visible thin red line was present. Tim frowns. He proceeds to take off his black jacket, leaving him in just a sweater, and hands it over to me. Put it on. I doubt a thin blanket will keep you warm. He states. I was about to decline until he spoke up before me. No, I'm not cold, he says, nodding his head at the jacket. I hesitate for a couple of seconds before removing the blanket from myself and putting his jacket on. It's surprisingly warm. Tim holds the thin blanket by placing it over his shoulder. I bury myself in the slightly large jacket, pulling my hands inside the sleeves to warm myself up. I muffle a thank you, causing Tim to smile. He looked like he was about to say something until a high-pitched voice started shouting my name from far away. Why in? The voice squealed. That was undoubtedly Emma. I felt myself subconsciously grin from ear to ear. She was fine. Thank God she was okay. She rushes over to me and tackles me into a bear hug, almost making me crash into Tim. Tim gives me a soft boost by my shoulders, allowing me to keep my balance. Are you okay? I'm so sorry I didn't reply to your messages. I saw your complex on the news. I came as fast as I could. She bawled, almost squeezing all the air out of my lungs. I managed to laugh a bit and pat her short blonde hair. I'm fine, Emma. Everything's fine. I breathe out as she lets go of me. She was about to say something until she sees Tim standing behind me. Who's that? She asks out of genuine curiosity. I glance back at Tim, who just smiles. Oh, that's Tim. He's my... Emma cut me off short and let out an exaggerated gasp. Are you Ryan's boyfriend? Please say you are. You two seem so cute together. Emma squeals with a big grin. I almost choke on my own saliva as my face heats up. Tim looks away nervously as his cheeks become bright red too. Sensing the thick, awkward silence between Tim and I, Emma's grin falters. Oh, she says dully. Tim then clears his throat, rubbing the back of his neck. Well, I mean, he begins slowly, nervously averting his gaze from Emma and I. I wouldn't really mind. He lets out a short, nervous laugh afterwards. Emma's grin seems to return as she looks at my now-flushed face. Without looking at the two, I bury my face deeper into Tim's jacket. This is definitely the worst time to ask someone out, but holy shit, Ryan, look at him. Emma waves her arms in front of Tim as if presenting him as something very valuable. I mentally groan. Why does Emma have to be like this? Then again, it's not like I dislike the idea of going out with Tim. Tim chuckles at Emma's comment and places his cold hand on my shoulder, making me jump. My heart starts beating faster as I glance up at Tim, only to see him flash me one of his signature smiles. We can't disappoint your friend, can we? He chuckles. Wait, is he actually asking me out? I glance over to Emma, who's excitedly bouncing up and down whilst repeatedly nodding her head. Well, I swallow. I guess we can't disappoint her, I stammer nervously, my face heating up as I look down to my feet. Emma squeals and claps her hands. Yes, Tim and Ryan, you two were so cute, she meals out. Just as I was about to say something, I noticed all the people from the complex going back inside. Investigation is over. Everyone is free to go back inside. I heard one of the policemen shout. Oh, looks like everyone's going home. Emma pouts as she glances over her shoulder, watching everyone going back inside. She then turns back to me, casting a quick glance towards Tim. That's my call to go home. Stay safe, Kay. Bye, Ryan. She giggles before rushing off. I know too well why she's rushing away so quickly. She wants me and Tim to be alone together. Tim clears his throat and stuffs his hands in the pockets of his pants. So, he trails off. Want to, grab a coffee tomorrow after you're done with work? As in, a date, I mean? He stutters nervously. I giggle and nod my head. He's adorable when he's flustered. Of course. Good night, Tim. I smile before taking the risk of willingly hugging his body. He seems surprised on the sudden action, making him tense up for only a few seconds. Yeah, good night. He grins, giving me a strong hug. I was about to head inside until I realized I still have his jacket. Oh, before I forget. Tim held his hand up with a smile, shaking his head. Keep it. It looks nice on you. He points out. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. Actually, I'll see you in a few hours. I sheepishly smile. It was 3-something a.m., so I would definitely see him again today. Yeah, see you soon. He chuckles, giving me a short wave before heading off. Author's note. You get the best of both worlds. Ha, and just to think he broke into your apartment a few moments before asking you out. Congrats, you got a date with your robber. That was the author's note. So let me know what you guys feel about that, because I really like this one. This one's funny and cute and kind of like manipulative in a way, because his acting skills is crazy. That's wild. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next video, and thank you guys so much for being patient. You guys are so lovely. You guys are so sweet, and literally, like, I only do this because of you guys. I only do this readings because I want to do this for you. It's also entertaining for me. It's like a hobby. Like, I like doing them, but I originally stopped doing them because I was like, oh, like, I just posted 2 videos and I was like, cool, this isn't gonna go anywhere. And then all of you guys are like, hi. And I'm like, cool, there's like a bunch of people here on my channel now. I'm like, I don't know where you guys all came from. But anyways, you guys have a lovely day. Bye-bye.